I went to like climb down on the buck and shoot, and it was like I just got a split picture of like a bull jumping up, and so that's when it kind of like clicked for me that like, okay, you know, I do remember a little bit.
Wow. Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life, and through Kelly we hope to inspire. I have Hunter Edwin Adams on the show today, and he is a bull rider. You're the second bull rider we've had on the show. We had Colby on the show. I'm not sure, I don't remember what Colby's last name is. Williams, thank you, Colby Williams. And it was really cool because Diego and I, you guys do a competition in Las Vegas. Is it always in December?
Yes, ma'am, that's the finals.
Okay, the finals. And we actually ended up in Las Vegas during the finals. So it was on every TV in the casinos, but we didn't ever get to go see it. So you were there too in the finals.
Yes, ma'am.
What inspired you to become a bull rider?
Just ever since I was little, I always told my mom I was gonna ride bulls, and she said, no, you're not. No, you not as long as I'm alive.
You're really not gonna do that.
Yeah, and so I was about 16, and I seen a buddy. He entered a little junior rodeo, and I was like, hey man, I was like, send me the information on that, and because I really want to try it. And I think I was at school or I was at home, and I sent it to mom, and thinking that when I got home I was gonna have to like beg and plead and everything, and she already had me signed up for that weekend, and I was like, oh man, this is happening right now.
So a lot of these guys start off riding sheep. You would have been too old to start riding sheep,
ma'am,
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, a lot of these guys start really young. So what was the challenge for you starting a little bit later?
Well, see, a lot of them kids, they get on like steers, which, you know, it's just more experience and more time, because like what a lot of people don't realize is when you actually get on the back of a bull, your adrenaline, like when you first get on there, your adrenaline's pumping so fast, you can't really remember everything.
Imagine.
And so those kids just have a little more experience, and then they just work their ways up into bulls. But with me, I think
you just got thrown on.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I rode steers, you know, for a couple months at least, I think, and then I just went to bull riding and got on a bull, and it was on from there.
And you had a major injury,
yes,
right?
Ma'am.
Was that early on in?
Yeah, it was about a year or so, I'd say, into it.
Okay.
Roughly.
And tell me what happened.
Well, I went out to Texas, Fort Worth, going out there for vacation, but I was like, I'm a bull rider and I'm in Texas, you know, I got to get on a bull, right? No, wrong. It's you get on like your caliber bull. But me, I didn't know no better, so I just entered a bull riding, and I was riding up against, you know, so I was hanging out in the locker room with some of the professionals I've seen on TV and stuff, and so I was the very first rider to come out that night. They had so many bull riders that night that they did. Normally bull riding's at the end of a rodeo, but there were so many that they had to do it at the very beginning and at the very end. And it just so happened I was the very first thing to start the rodeo off with, and I just had a mean old bull, and he jerked me down on his head when he came out, and his horn went through my face mask, ripped my helmet off, and his horn came back and hit me again in the back of the head. And at first they thought, you know, I answered all the concussion protocols, you know, pretty much knew where I was at. Well, they told me to go to the locker room and start putting my stuff up, and Dad said something told him to turn around. He had this uneasy feeling, and he said he turned around, and I was standing by the locker room saying, what happened? Like, what's going on? And so my second night in Texas on vacation, I ended up with short-term memory loss and as worse as a concussion could get. I asked the same questions for about 5 hours straight.
Do you recall that now, or is it?
It's little pieces. Like I didn't remember getting on my bull, but we actually went back to the Coliseum either that next day or the day before, and the bull didn't really stand too good in the chute. He kept wanting to move around and buck up in the buck and shoot, and so we went back to the Coliseum and told the security guard what happened, and just hoping that I could like see it and be able to remember at least something from Texas. And the guy was nice enough. He said, "Y'all go on," you know. So I walked back down to the buck and shoot, and I went back to the same buck and shoot, and it's kind of weird, and it kind of sounds like I'm making it up.
No,
but
it doesn't
I went to like climb down on the buck and shoot, and it was like I just had a split picture of like a bull jumping up, and so that's when it kind of like clicked for me that like, okay, you know, I do remember a little bit.
Wow.
But I remember seeing a group of boys that I really looked up to at the time. They rode bulls, and they still ride bulls. They're my best friends now. But I was walking down the street and down there in Fort Worth, and they were actually out there for a finals themselves. And they actually stopped me and was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "I have no idea who you are."
Wow.
Yeah, like it took me a minute to realize who they were. So, you know, and then it was that one. They always talk about your first bull riding injury is going to be the worst one because you it's like a mental game because bull riding's 90% mental and 10% physical in my opinion. But I couldn't remember nothing by it, so it didn't really faze me none. So once I got the all clear to start riding again, you know, I was right back on them, and I went to a high school rodeo deal. Honestly, none of it's the bull's fault, in my opinion. If I get hurt, if I get stepped on, it's my fault because I didn't do my job. The bull did his job. He got me off his back, right? So I ended up coming up underneath this bull. I remember laying flat on my back and looking up.
This is your second injury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is about a couple months later, and I remember laying on my back and looking up, and I could see him about to turn around, and I said, "Yeah, he's about to get it." So I just kind of closed my eyes, gritted my teeth, and took what was coming, and he walked all over me. That's for sure.
Wow. So now that one, it was harder to get back up?
Yes, ma'am. I actually couldn't get back up. I rolled over and tried to crawl away, and he stepped on me again, and I remember my dad and one of my buddies grabbing my arms and just dragging me out.
But getting back up on the next bull.
Oh, yes, ma'am, because, you know, I remembered everything from it. I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Wow.
I broke a rib, collapsed both tops of my lungs, and bruised my liver. And, you know, that one was hard to get by because you kept having that what if.
Yeah.
That what if, you know, like, what if I do that again?
Yeah.
And
I can't imagine. I mean, my daughter was just in a car accident, and she won't even drive. You know, I can't imagine getting on a bull and then getting back up on it. What do you want for your future? I mean, obviously you want to, you love this animal, and you want to be around this animal. What do you want your future? What do you want for your future?
For my future would be a little house on a hill and bucking bulls as far as you can see.
With a little hottie on your side?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I just love anything and everything bucking bull. Something about them, you know. Ever since I was little, that's all I ever wanted to do. And so nobody in my family rodeos, so I'm kind of like the black sheep of the family, you know. But yeah, I just want to raise them, and because I know I'm not going to ride forever, so I'm just going to ride as long as the good Lord will let me, and then start raising them from there. So just be around as much as I can.
Good. You got a good future ahead of you, and a wonderful. I mean, I can see your future. I can see it. It's a good, wholesome place to be, and it's important. That's for you to remember that you're a gift in life. And we want you to stay alive.
Yes, ma'am.
So that you can have those bulls and raise those bulls.
Yes, ma'am.
Some advice to give to, I mean, you really learned the hard way because you learned you didn't have any knowledge of what was going on where these other kids were raised in this. What advice would you give to somebody who's even thinking about getting on a bull? And what would you give me if I'm thinking about getting on a bull?
Well, if you're really wanting to get on a bull, I'd say go to a practice pen. Go to a practice pen and just practice. But make sure it's someplace that you know that the people know what they're talking about. Because I've been to places where they say they know what you're talking about, but they really don't, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does.
And then another big thing is don't let anybody talk you down. Because I've had people tell me I was never going to be good enough, never going to make it anywhere in it. I had somebody that was really important in my life that I really looked up to at the time. He asked me what my dreams was. I told him I wanted to raise a bunch of bulls. He told me that was unrealistic and that I needed to quit bull riding. So now I'm still.
But why is that unrealistic? It's not even unrealistic.
That's what I said. But right now, I've got me and my buddy are actually working on our own practice pins right now. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works and really excited about the future and hopefully being able to have some kids that never rode before be able to come and do like a one-on-one and make sure they know what they're doing right, because that's where I went wrong, is just jumping into it and getting on the meanest, baddest things.
And you know what you will have to offer them is you will want to protect them because of the experiences that you have gone through. And having somebody as a mentor for you that is a protector is one of the greatest gifts in the whole wide world.
Yes,
so I think God put you right where he wants you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right where he wants you.
Yes, ma'am.
We hope that this segment educates and inspires you.